Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I have Christopher Baiza with his movie, Myra. Let's take a look at the clip.
Attention, all you boys and girls out there tonight.
Cálmense, cabrones, escuchen bien, ¿ok?
Deine Umstände scheiß nicht übernehmen! Du Churras, gehen zu Hölle fahren!
Fick die Spasti-Arschloch!
Wir sind Vorgesetzte dieser Stadt und wir sind von jedermann auch gegen El Coco und don't Churras überholt werden! Hast du mich verstanden?
Christopher, congratulations on your film.
Thank you, man.
We loved it and
Thank
it
you.
was such a great experience last night.
Yeah.
But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Myra's basically about a transgender girl from a Mexican American neighborhood in LA, and she falls in love with a gang leader. And in the midst of that love, she finds herself in a love triangle with another transgender girl from the other side of town. But the story kind of takes a turn when her lover is actually connected with the Sinaloa cartel. And homosexuality, and that too, in their eyes, in Mexico, particularly in that organization, it's a no-no, you know, in this story. And a lot of things evolve after that, where the lover decides to cut Myra off completely. But in the code of that organization is once you're in, you're in. Blood in, blood out. So there's a green light. And that green light is her, you know, her death warrant, basically. So that's when the story starts to kind of unravel.
You take us on an amazing journey, Christopher.
Yeah.
It's like from start to finish, like it's just you're just in this, you know. And I don't know, your style of filmmaking, everything feels it's so personal. Almost I felt like I was actually there with her as well. Now going into this story, where did the inspiration come for you in creating this story? Because you really knock down a lot of doors and open up, you know, new avenues in you know, communities that don't always kind of like respond in such a way. So what was the inspiration for you in saying, I want to make this film?
My inspiration basically was you know, growing up in you know, in Southgate neighborhood. I grew up around neighboring cities there, like Linwood, Huntington Park. I mean, all that is very heavy in Mexican American culture, you know. But as a kid, I would sell newspapers, you know, just to kind of make some pocket change.
Yeah.
And I would walk around the boulevard as a kid, okay? I was like maybe, I don't know, 14. But there was a lot of transgender prostitutes on the boulevard of Long Beach Boulevard. So I used to just walk and I used to be so like, whoa, that's crazy, you know, prostitutes.
Yeah.
And then I started to talk to them, right? Because, you know, I was a kid, you know, I would buy, you know, like lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see the group of them just kind of, you know, making their money, right? But little did I know they were all transgendered, you know, and through time I became friends with them, and you know, they started to tell me about their stories and stuff like that. And and I was a kid, so it occurred to me later in life that would probably be a good story to tell, and then mix in a fantasy into it, you know.
So you knew that at 14, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was
that.
running the streets, man. I was a crazy little kid, man. Just, you know, just everywhere. So, you know, I picked up on things. Yeah. And I just created Myra.
I love that, and I love that you evolved this into a movie, which is it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Now you had to get a really pretty awesome cast for this to kind of really show the realism of what was going on in the story and everything else. How was the casting process for you?
Man, I don't even. You know what?
The blur.
How I got actors hooked on it was I had to write the scenes where it was meaty enough for them to. So I had to write for the actor.
Wow.
Right. So
it's like an actor's dream, though.
Right. But to get that type of caliber that I have in this film, you know, the actors. Yeah. I had to write moments, small little climaxes in their scenes, so that they agreed to jump on. You know, because if I wrote some like, you know, mundane and dull scenes, you know, more than likely they probably won't jump on board
Yeah.
because I didn't have anything
Yeah.
to my name. You know, this
Yeah.
is my first movie, so
Yeah,
they didn't really know what I was about.
I didn't believe that though, but
Right.
you know, it's like you've been doing this for years. But yeah,
Yeah. So so they're like, okay, you know. So I just started to write, and it was a short, you know.
Yeah.
As soon as Tom Sizemore came on board, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, because that guy has done hits,
Insane
Saving Private
movies, yeah.
Ryan, Black Hawk
Huge
Down,
movies.
Heat. I mean, so for him to jump on board and do Myra, then I started seeing all the actors kind of, you know, just really taking a look at my writing process, and I just started to write, and it just became this feature film, you know.
I love that.
So-
I love that. What is it like though when you? I mean, it's your first film,
Yeah.
right? Which I can't get my head around.
Right.
And it's not many people go in with their first film writing, you know, a
Yeah.
film that's like a feature
Right,
film, right?
right.
So that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then what's it like then getting this amazing talent that you've watched growing up, and they like, oh man, they're in my film. This is amazing.
Yeah, that was mind blowing to have Tom Sizemore on set. I remember just, you know, I was like 3rd grade watching him on Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
And I was
right?
like, whoa, some on the U-boats, man, on Normandy
Yeah.
Beach. And now he's here, you know, it's just weird, you know. But, you know, my parents had me very young. You know, they're young kids, you know, when they had me. They were like 19, 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
So my dad didn't really know how to parent, really, you know.
Yeah.
He sat us down, we watched movies like
Yeah.
all the time. That was the only thing I did was watch movies. Then I watched television, and I watched a lot of black and whites.
Yeah.
Bogart, I mean, you name it,
Yeah.
man. You know, just really old movies, and you
It's
know,
a great education though, isn't it? When
yeah,
you're watching
yeah,
these films,
right,
that's the best way
right.
to.
And it was weird because when I
Yeah.
started to film, it was like a natural ability. Like I knew
Yeah.
exactly the shots I wanted and
Yeah.
everything. It was, you know, I don't know, it just felt natural. So I just ran with it.
Well, there's certain filmmakers, and I really feel this, even though it's only your first film, there's certain filmmakers that I feel already have got this great essence of a style, you know,
Yeah,
where like little
right.
Tarantino's got his moments of how you do things, and your style, that the whole journey that you take us on, and how you kind of had the sort of the countdown and everything that it was, and the time, and it kept us on edge, it kept us involved, and you know, you had a very specific way of like capturing shots. It was, you know, sometimes you got the real close-ups in there as well.
Yeah.
Were you trying to specifically kind of like manipulate the audience and kind of keep people kind of kept in, or was there certain styles you were
it was
going
just
for?
my way of like showing intimacy.
Yes,
Between
yes.
like audience member.
Yeah.
And the imagery.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to own it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I wanted to grab the
Yeah.
audience member, and I wanted to really have them part of that ride. You know.
Yeah.
So and I'm also a fan of like close-ups. I like
Yeah,
to
I love
see
it.
like the
Yeah.
subtext of a face and just
Yeah.
you know, I
And I love that you did that, because you know sometimes sometimes they pan away too quickly, and you kind of left us in these close-ups.
Right,
and I
like,
love
oh,
that.
oh, I
yeah.
wanna
So
see
no, go back to that. You know,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
they give too much as well. But no, that I really loved that perspective.
Yeah.
It was really really entertaining. Obviously,
Right.
probably you had to work well with the editor to kind of put that together.
No, I did all the editing myself.
I mean,
so
you know, what
yeah.
can you do when you're talented, you know? Just,
No,
there you go.
No, I don't know. I just I learned how to really become a really great editor. I started
Yeah.
editing for friends and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know, I did take a class for editing.
Yeah.
And then I dropped out because it was so fucking slow. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's late night, it's fine.
Okay, so so I just, you know, I just picked up on editing, and I just read all the books, and I just, you know, teaching myself how to edit.
I love
And I just
that.
created my own style, basically.
I love that you literally, because I think sometimes we can, you know, obviously you got to know how to work equipment and things like that.
You
But I
have to.
love that you watched a ton of movies when you were younger. You're inspired by stories and people that you met,
Yeah.
and you've self-taught yourself to
Right.
become a filmmaker. I think that's so amazing.
Right.
Now, what was the biggest challenge you had making this project?
The budget.
The budget.
Yeah, I guess for a lot of filmmakers, I guess it seems to be the thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the budget really. I started with $10,000, and then I created a Indiegogo account,
Yeah.
and then that gave me another $5,000.
Yeah.
And then the rest, I just had to, you know, I was working, you know,
Yeah.
you know, just odd jobs and just working, you know. So I saved enough to shoot every month. Every other month, we'll shoot a scene. We'll shoot like 4 scenes in one day. The interrogation scene, it was
Yeah.
25 pages, shot in one day. I shot all of it. We shot from like maybe 10 in the morning to like 3 in the morning.
Oh, you don't mess around, do you?
Yeah, I didn't mess around,
Yeah.
man.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
That was tough, man.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
that was a lot of work.
the end result was certainly there.
Right.
What was it? I mean, again, you put this insanely hard work into it. It's quite an amazing feeling. What's it like then to have it at New Filmmakers LA on the big screen?
It's
like,
surreal.
how is that?
Right, it's just so exciting, man.
Yeah.
And then when I saw you walk to the stage and like present the films and everything, I was like, holy crap.
Here we go.
This is it. This is the real moment, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people would sit there and they watch it, but they don't realize how much work goes into something like that. It's a lot of work. You know?
I know, I really overemphasize how much filmmakers work hard for this, but it really is true. And it's, you know, sometimes you feel like giving up and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this.
It's physically exhausting.
It's exhausting.
For me, it wasn't mentally. It was just physically
mentally. I think one thing that's also wonderful is when you are a filmmaker that's just, you know, opening doors and opening, having people have an opportunity to understand and be educated by different areas of living or different communities and stuff like that. What, you know, obviously you made a film that had a central figure around a transgender, you know, person going through quite a tormented time. Was that something very important to you, that you kind of got that aspect right, or that you wanted to make sure you did it correctly? How was that experience for you?
I attended a LGBT community in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I pretty much there was a film that came out a couple years before mine called Tangerine.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Sean Baker, you know, because I casted Maya Taylor. She's one of the stars in Myra. You know, yeah. So she pretty much gave me the ins and outs of that community, and I did join a group session where it was a room with transgendered girls, and you know, I had the opportunity to listen to their stories and kind of accept me as just a regular dude, right?
Yeah.
Because they saw me like, oh, this guy's just a regular guy. Look at him.
Yeah.
But I was able to win their acceptance.
Yeah.
You know, to have me there and just kind of, you know, like say, hey, this guy, okay. You know, he's really listening to us, and you know, let's support him. Yeah. So it was great. It was.
Well, I love that, and congratulations on putting a, you know,
thanks, man.
Open up, breaking down those doors, as we say.
Yeah, right.
It's wonderful. What is next for you?
Right now I'm shooting another film called Water Dog.
Ooh.
Water Dog is a film that takes place in the South, in Kentucky, in the 1940s, and this one, actually 1979. This one's about a guy who sells psychedelic drugs to funeral parties in the South, but to the minority communities, which is the African Americans and the Mexican Americans in the South.
Yeah.
But he's married to a much younger woman whose in-laws are the founding members of the Ku Klux Klan. So it's kind of, but it's also a zombie movie, because these psychedelic drugs in these funeral parties, you know, he gets a new batch of this stuff called ZD, zombie drug, right? And legend is that if you place a ZD pill on the mouth of a corpse, it revives the dead. Oh, so the climax is at the end, during the Ku Klux Klan dinner, all the victims show up, and it just becomes this crazy, you know.
Why would you not want to see that film? That sounds so intriguing. I can't wait.
We shot 5 scenes already.
Oh, you shot 5 scenes already?
Yeah,
oh, great.
we're pretty much already in the process of filming now.
That's amazing. You know, I think it's so great that you've made your first film and you've got it underway, and so many people were kind of like scared and nervous about just getting it out there and getting their first foot out there, and now you've made it. What have you learned from it, and what a piece of advice do you have maybe for the future? Any filmmakers out there?
Any filmmakers? I would say really to go with your heart. You know, be very specific and just kind of like know what you want to do. You know, you have an idea, map it out, put it on paper, and don't be afraid to revise something. And just, you know, just follow your heart, you know? I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, I think sometimes a lot of filmmakers think too much. And that kind of sabotages the plan. You know, sometimes you just got to go for it.
I love it.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Follow your heart. There you
Follow
go.
Your heart,
that's
man.
it. That's it.
That's pretty much it.
That's it. Well, congratulations, mate. You did a fantastic job. I'm looking forward to seeing your next project. Thank you very much. Myra, everybody. Thank you.